There are 24 different weapon aspects in Hades 2, which means this is going to be the longest video we've done so far, unless I can keep the yapping to a minimum. So less talk, more rock, let's get started. Patreon, it's where you can support us. We get to keep most of the money. Like and subscribe, it really, really does help. If I do this really fast and you do it, that means I can do it faster next time. So, you know, try that. Tulok the Cardbarians, where the Magic the Gathering channel is, if you like Magic the Gathering, and Tulok the Barbarians, where the D&D stuff is. Now, let's get started. Aspect of Mel on the staff. If you like ketchup but wish it wasn't so spicy, Aspect of Mel is for you. Aspect of Mel on the staff is for people whose favorite food is Domino's pizza. Not pizza, Domino's pizza. They want it basic, they want it simple, and this is as basic and simple as you can get. I'm putting it in B tier. All it does is raise the damage of your special attacks and give you more magic to use those special attacks, the Omega versions, or the Omega versions of your regular attacks. That's it. It's not bad. If you like the staff's moveset, especially the special, this can be pretty good. Get a good special boon and you'll do a lot of damage. On the testing for it, we actually had a lot of ding-ding support from Hephaestus on our attack, but the Omega special still ended up doing the most damage by the end of the run. So it's solid. It's not very exciting, and I definitely wouldn't say it's the best, but it's pretty darn good for being so basic. Aspect of Mel on the daggers is a little bit spicier than Aspect of Mel on the staff. This gives you bonus damage to your backstabs. It's also in B tier, B for backstab. It's not all that much extra effort to get behind an enemy and get better positioning. However, there are some enemies that just kind of don't let you backstab. I'm talking about Scylla, Prometheus, and Typhon, all for different reasons. Scylla literally stops you from backstabbing, but Scylla isn't all that hard, so, you know, you miss out on the aspect and you're basically just using basic daggers. That's fine. Prometheus just turns around so much. He's really good at locking onto your position and making sure he's looking at you so he can attack you. You definitely can still get backstabs off. You're just going to get a lot less backstabs off than you would against pretty much every other boss except Typhon, who's only in front of you. You can angle yourself properly if you stand in front of him and turn yourself around, so I guess you're hitting him with your ass, you're just clapping your cheeks on Typhon. That does work. It's really clumsy and not very intuitive, but you can do it. It's easier when you have the Apollo attack boon, since that boosts the range of your stuff, and all the backstab stuff works when you throw the daggers, because, you know, you throw them and they come back. If they hit the front, then they hit the back. If they hit the back, then they hit the front. It'll work half the time on all your specials, again, except for on Scylla. And that bonus backstab damage adds up to quite a bit. It's pretty darn good. You can upgrade it further with Apollo if you get the Daze backstab bonus. You can get the Daedalus upgrade that boosts your backstabbing even further. I didn't get either of those while I was testing, and it still did fine. Not the best, not my favorite dagger, but it's all right if that's what you're into. Aspect of Mel, torches. It's A tier. It's the most basic torch moveset, but the torches are my favorite weapon. It gives you a critical hit chance, and critical hits are fun. You're also firing a lot of attacks, so you're more likely to get those critical hits. It's particularly good for setting up Mel Stone, the run where you get heavy metal from Hephaestus and get more damage on each attack because you get more crits. And also, at the end of Mel Stone, you want to switch to White Antler to get 30% crit chance because you have so much armor and you're not gonna lose all of that, so you can protect your health. I think it's really, really solid for that, and it feels like one of the spicier aspect of Mel options. Again, we're talking like putting pepper on your food levels of spicy. It's nothing that's gonna burn down the house in terms of flavor, but it's all right. It's the torches. They're good. I like them. A tier. The aspect of Mel Axe. This sucks. I'm putting it in C tier because you can make it good if you get a bunch of speed upgrades on the axe, but it's so slow. All this does is give you more attack damage and give Mel more health. It gives Mel more health because the attacks are so slow, so they have to compensate for how often you're gonna get hit using this slow-ass moveset. Only problem is the extra health you get is not worth the extra hits you're taking, especially late game. And that extra damage doesn't really add up to much. Certainly not much more than just getting an axe that has a faster attack. Like, if you just attack more with the axe, you don't need a boost on your attack because it's just faster, which we'll talk about when we get to another aspect of the axe. But yeah, this one stinks. I even tried to get the most HP you can get in a build and get that Demeter Aphrodite duo boon that gives you bigger damage the more health you have. Even at like over 1,000 health, this still isn't really making up for the fact that it's so slow you're getting beaten down. Like, I didn't die, I had 1,000 health, but it was slow. It shouldn't be slow, it should be fast. C tier. Aspect of Mel on the skulls, also C tier. The skulls are a fine weapon for you to enjoy. I'm not discounting the skulls and their scully fun. I am discounting this one because it encourages you not to have ammo in your pocket. This boosts your damage with the more skulls that are just sitting on the battlefield, and that encourages you to have less ammo. I already dislike doing chores, but this incentivizes you not to do your chores, and boy howdy, it makes you realize why you do your chores. It makes you realize why it's important to go pick those skulls up, because when you're stranded without your attack and you gotta go run around finding a skull, that's annoying. The extra damage isn't worth it. There are so many better aspects on the skull that you can unlock later that this just feels really cumbersome and really annoying. Don't really like it. C tier. Aspect of Mel jetpack, I'm putting it in A tier because just makes your attack and dash faster. And it's a jetpack. I like the jetpack. I think it's fun. I like the missiles. I like the punches. This is a basic one. It just makes you a little better at the game. And hey, being a little better at the game with the jetpacks, if you don't want to do a bunch of extra work, a lot of the other jetpack aspects kind of make you do a bunch of chores. Now, when we get to those, we can talk about whether or not those chores are worth it. However, the jetpack's just a solid weapon. I think it's one of the better basic weapons, and having the basic upgrade that just makes you a little bit faster, it's pretty good. A tier. But you know what's always S tier? Self-improvement. And you can do that with today's sponsor, Boot.dev. Boot.dev is a fun way to learn back-end web development. I'm talking Python, SQL, and Go coding languages. I say fun, but it's also challenging and it takes time. You're learning a new skill that's going to be valuable. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a get a good skill to get a good job endeavor. Scheme's not the right word because it just actually teaches you coding. And what a good job it could be. According to StackOverflow.com, the median salary for a back-end web developer was over $150,000 last year. That's a good chunk of change, and that is a job you can do from anywhere, in your pajamas, most of the time. Some people still want you to come into the office, but most of the time you can do it from home, so you don't have to move. Boot.dev makes learning back-end web development easy because it gamifies the system, adding experience points, fun challenges, funny little memes to keep you going. There's a Discord community of other people learning the same skills you are, so you can help each other out. I love the community aspect of it. It's so nice. They also just added the training grounds, which is a place where you can do infinite challenges to make sure you're really nailing down those skills. If you just love the grind, training grounds is for you. If you're a PvP sicko, there's a leaderboard though. Whatever type of game you like, Boot.dev engineered the learning to suit your gaming style, which is so perfect and so good and so helpful for learning because it keeps you coming back to it. Go to boot.dev.com and use my offer code TULOK for 25% off a year-long subscription. Again, that's boot.dev.com and the offer code is TULOK for 25% off your annual subscription. Now, let's get back to ranking those aspects. And we're back with a banger, the aspect of Sir C. But is that a CIC in the C tier? Yeah, it is. This makes you a second cast wherever your familiar is spawned in and creates a psychic leash between you and the familiar that does damage when things are standing in it. Sounds pretty cool, right? Well, I don't think casts are all that great. They're great at slowing enemies down, sure, basic enemies, and you can upgrade them accordingly so that they do more damage, obviously, just like you can upgrade everything else. But honestly, if I'm given the choice between upgrading the cast or upgrading my special with the basic aspect of Mel, I'd go for the special. The psychic leash doesn't do all that much damage. Casts don't stop bosses from moving all that well, so if you're getting value from your cast, a lot of times they just hop out of it. That stinks. Again, this is something that can be upgraded. It's why it's not in D tier. By the way, there is a D tier one coming. This isn't me copping out and putting everything in C tier so I don't hurt anyone's fifis. I know people's fifis get hurt even when I put things in B tier. No, this is in C tier because I understand you can upgrade it with like the Apollo Supernova to make it get really, really big. And you can get a cast that does some decent damage. Hephaestus's comes to mind. Zeus's comes to mind. But when I'm looking for a cast, I'm really just looking for a status effect to put on pretty easy, and getting a second cast circle and that psychic leash doesn't really feel better than just doing the basic special upgrade on the aspect of Mel. So C tier. Where are the S tiers? Well, we got one here. Artemis doesn't miss that S tier because she's got the art. This gives you a riposte, 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 however you want to pronounce it. I believe in you, and you're so great, and I'm so happy you've lived since the 15th century. What's that like? Do you like McDonald's Sprite, or does it just kill you when you take a sip? This makes it so that when you're charging your Omega attack, you automatically block one hit, and then you get 50% crit chance for 5 seconds. That's a lot of crits. Now, those crits are dagger crits, which are smaller than other crits, but if you can upgrade your dagger damage even a little bit, those crits really pop off. Also, the frequency of the hits helps excel in a good way. Words? I'm saying words. If you're doing 10 damage per hit and you do 10 hits in a second, that's still 100 damage in a second. Except now you've got 10 opportunities to crit and to double that damage, so I actually think it probably works better with the fast frequency. I'm not a math guy, okay? Get off my back. I'm a literature person, you know? That's what... No, I'm not. I'm just a moron. I also just love it because it makes me feel like I'm good at parrying for once. I'm ass at parrying in every game. If y'all watch me play Elden Ring, you know that I never really learned how to parry Melania because I didn't think it was all that valuable, you know? You gotta parry Melania 3 times before you get the crit. Parries are bad in Elden Ring. You have to do 3 of them before you get a crit on most bosses. That stinks. Why learn that for the 4 bosses you can parry? In this game, parrying's dummy easy, and it's hugely valuable. Hooray! It makes me feel smart. It makes me feel good. It does really good damage. 10 out of 10. The one thing I will say is maybe don't get the Hestia attack or special on the daggers for once. Every other dagger aspect, I'd say go Hestia every time. You can scorch it up super duper fast and always have that scorch ticking down. But you want bigger damage number on all of your attacks and specials. You don't want scorch, which is always a flat number. By the way, the crit chance is for everything you do. So Hephaestus's ding-dings, yeah, those get crits too. That's funny. If you like big numbers, get the Hephaestus ding-dings, parry something, and don't just watch a big old explosion hit everyone. Love the aspect of Artemis. S tier. Aspect of Moros torches. I was unfamiliar with their game because, if I'm being totally honest, my favorite aspect in the game is a torch aspect, and I always just choose that. So this was like the first, second, or third time I even tried the aspect of Moros on the torches. S tier. Oh my God, what? This is so good. Have I been sleeping on this? Do I think this is actually my favorite aspect? I don't know. Here's how it works. Your attacks linger. They explode when you hit them with your specials. So you hit that Omega special and you attack, and then your attacks are all exploding. When I was testing it, I got a ding-ding from Hephaestus, which means the basic attacks are not actually upgraded. I just get a ding-ding every few seconds. And as I was getting to the end, I was like, oh my God, how fast is my ding-ding? It must be going every like 2 seconds, every 3 seconds. It was unupgraded at heroic, so it was every 6 seconds. But no, that's just the raw damage. You don't need boons to boost your damage on the attack and special with this. You will just clear rooms with how much extra damage the attacks do when they explode. It's bananas. Then you get an attack boon that boosts the damage and you do even more damage. It's absurd. This thing's fantastic, and it keeps you out of range so you can stay away. You can stay safe. Keep your little health bar safe, because I'm scared of getting hits. I don't like getting hits because I like to keep my armor for a Melstone run. It's facts. It's just really good. It's fun. But yeah, this covers a ton of area. It keeps you safe and distant and does a ton of damage. S tier. There's nothing else I could want from this. All right, this is the part of the video where people get mad at me because I know this one's meta and I don't like it. It's the aspect of Charon. I'm putting it in C tier. Look, it's just so much work. I've talked a little bit about how much effort goes into doing stuff. All the aspect of Mel stuff is very low effort generally, except for those skulls that make you go pick them up. Annoying. This is pretty high effort. You got to throw your cast down and then hit it with your Omega special. It gets better with the launching casts that I don't like, because I play on controller and it's annoying to aim them. So if I played on mouse and keyboard, I would probably like this better. Do you hear me saying that to you? Please hear me saying that to you. I would like this better if I played on mouse and keyboard, but I don't. So I don't like slinging the casts, which means that I'm usually standing in the casts, or I've got to get out of the casts because the enemies are coming for me as I'm standing in the cast. And the timing window is pretty tight, and the Omega special takes a long time to charge up. Now, the first time I tested this was for the big boomy circles run in the silly runs, where I was trying to get Prominence Flare and the duo boon between Zeus and Apollo that lets you overcharge your Omega cast and do a bunch of lightning while you do Prominence Flare. Not realizing that that doesn't happen when you hit the aspect of Charon. It doesn't happen. You do have to manually charge it up longer, which is why when we get to duo boons, I'm going to talk some shit about that duo boon. That boon sucks. But I looked at the comments and I saw that the best thing to do with this is actually use Poseidon's Omega cast boost, which makes the big watery splash. So that's what I did next time I tested it. And yeah, it does a lot of damage when you hit it. It absolutely does a lot of damage when you hit it. You probably could just do that damage by attacking though. And you wouldn't have to throw down a cast that you have 4 seconds to activate with an Omega special that takes 2 seconds to charge. Like, the window's tight and things are attacking me. Am I gonna take damage while I'm setting this up? It's pretty likely, and I don't think it's all that worth it, frankly, especially because, like I mentioned with the aspect of Cersei, bosses don't really care about your Omega cast, other than Typhon. Typhon, he stands still. This is pretty great against Typhon. Kronos will teleport right out of it. Scylla will slide right through it. Polyphemus just hops on out. No big issue there. Prometheus might as well be wearing ice skates going through this. So I just think it's kind of slow. It's hard to use against very mobile bosses because they move out of it, and it ends up with me getting hit. I know it's a lot of damage. That's why it's in C tier instead of D tier. And I know that I'm wrong because I know this is meta, and someone else made a tier list and they said this is meta and they're better at the game than me. So there's something I'm missing because I don't play perfectly, but you don't play perfectly either. You know, like I like playing Smash Bros, and I love watching tier list videos on Smash Bros and learning which characters are top tiers. But that doesn't matter for the level I'm playing at. I'm better than most of my local friends, and I play random because we're not all that good at the game. We're not actually playing at top tier levels. I think if you're not actually playing at a top tier level and you're like a casual player who goes on 32 Fear and says, ooh, this is pretty spicy. This is spicy ketchup at 32 Fear. I don't think Aspect of Charon's gonna be for you. It certainly isn't for me. Wow, 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 wow. It's time for more meta with the Aspect of Medea. This is the speedrunner's favorite aspect. And are those speedrunners cooking, or are they wrong again? And I'm right, because I'm worse at the game than them. No, they're right. This kind of rips. I'm putting it in A tier. This makes it so that you put all of your attacks into your hand, and then when you hit your special, you hit the attacks that you put into your hand. It gets really good with Wide Grin, which is normally a pathetic and terrible skull upgrade that fires all of your skulls at once in a spread pattern in front of you, and then you gotta go pick them all up, which is annoying. I don't totally love the skulls design in general, even though actually I do, because I'm thinking about the other ones, and they're also pretty high tier. I guess I just don't like the aspect of Mal. You get a huge damage boost to your special and attack that is just frankly too hard to ignore. So if you soup it up with any boons, it gets good. It also hits your attack and special boon at the same time, though you did use your attack and special, so yeah, that counts. You can also still do ranged attacks by hitting the Omega attack. There's a lot of value here in one big solid hit that you do. I only put it in A tier because I kind of like smaller hits that keep me a little more mobile. I know you're mobile when you're dashing, but you're mobile in one direction. You don't get to steer yourself like you do with another aspect that I'll talk about later. So since it's a little restrictive and there's still chores because it's the skull, I'm going to keep it out of S tier, but I definitely get what they were cooking when they made this, and I get why people think it's really, really good. I just think it's really good. Not really, really good. A tier. Aspect of Selene. Do you want to have Hex with Selene? Then go to B tier. Because this is good. It's fine. It's the jetpack. The jetpack's pretty solid. It comes with a Hex, and I think Hexes are pretty good. I also think the Death Star laser, pretty good Hex. Not my favorite, but it's pretty good. It's in B tier simply for the reason that it stops you from getting other hexes that I think are better. It also kind of encourages you to use Ares, who I am famously not a fan of. Sorry, Ares haters, argue with the wall. I won't talk crap about your boy, other than, like, you know I don't like the boy. So if I'm rocking the hex that gets better when you have the boy, and I feel obligated to have the boy, then I'm not having as much fun. I wish that it could be God sent with other gods, and I think it should if it's going to be attached to a weapon aspect. Like, Ares also just can't be God sent on all of the other weapons. There's 5 weapons he can't be God sent on. Come on, dude. Okay, I'm talking a little shit about Ares. Sorry. The Hex also makes enemies weak to your Omega attacks, and the Omega attacks on the jetpack are pretty fun. I like the homing rockets. I think they're fun. I like the parry to Captain Falcon punch that you get with the Omega attack. I think they're pretty neat. So, B tier. It's fine. It's fun. It's just very restrictive, and if that's not your playstyle, you might not like it. Aspect of Momus on the staff. This makes it so your Omega attacks fire off from a little turret you set up when you first make them. And boy howdy, if you like hitting Omega attacks, this is the one for you. I'm putting it in A tier. I think my big issue with the staff, if I have an issue with the staff, is that it's kind of a if machine, in that if you get some good Daedalus hammers, and actually all the hammer upgrades are great for the staff, but that's because the staff really needs some Daedalus hammers. Like, yikes. This thing without Daedalus hammers is garbage. Those Daedalus hammers are really good and take it from garbage to good or great. So if you get some of those that boost up your Omega attacks, which a lot of the hammer upgrades do for the staff, Aspect of Momus starts to cook. And you should find some hammers somewhere on your path. You got 3 choices. One of those 3 choices probably upgrades an Omega attack or Omega special. It's definitely very usable, and while I do think the staff is a bit of an if machine, and you do need to hit those ifs and hit those hammers, you're gonna get a hammer somewhere, so it makes Aspect of Momus pretty darn good. And I think this is a pretty darn good staff. I think it's probably the best staff, in my opinion. No S tiers for the staff. Sorry. A tier's not bad, and if you're a staff enjoyer and you're playing this A tier staff, you can probably take it to S tier. It probably feels S tier to you, and I'm happy for you. That's great. Aspect of Pan, more like I pan this aspect. D tier. I played this in early access. It ripped. You throw down your cast, and now all of your specials circle around in your cast and make just a whirling dervish of damage. It's fantastic. What did they do to my boy?
Look how they massacred my boy.
Trying it post-patch, they patched it, they nerfed it, and now it's terrible. Maybe I'm only putting it in D tier because I remember the glory days of how good it used to be, but oh my God, it does nothing. It does nothing. What ended up happening when I was testing this is I stopped trying to set up the cast and do the Omega special and just pretended I had normal daggers with no upgrade. And then I cleared rooms faster and got hit less. I think doing the setup for the Aspect of Pan is so valueless post-nerf that it actually is worse than just playing like you don't have an aspect. And that kind of sucks. So D tier, I'm disappointed. Please buff this back up. You don't have to buff it back up to where it used to be. I do understand why it got nerfed. He didn't have to do this to Pan. Oh my God. This aspect's never gonna grow up. It's in never use land. Tinkerbell, Captain Hook. It's time for my favorite aspect in the game. It's Aspect of Eos. God, I love this thing. And yes, I already have an S tier aspect for the torches, but I'm gonna do another one because this one's so good. Your Omega attack makes a bouncing ball that bounces all around the room, and then you do an Omega special, and that Omega special goes around you and goes around your bouncing ball. This covers so much area with damage, and because the Omega specials are rotating, that damage hits regularly. If you get any upgrade on your attack and special, you're good to go. There isn't really a bad option. The damage is solid for all of those hits. They hit really fast and keep you safe while filling up a huge area. That huge area also has frequent bursts of attacks, so it works fine on single targets. It's better for clearing big mob rooms, but it's kind of like Zeus in that it's better at clearing mob rooms. It's still great at clearing bosses. This is just fantastic. It's my favorite aspect in the game, and you just start dancing with it, you know? You send out that Omega, you send out that Omega special, and then you just, ooh, dash. Ooh, dash. All you gotta do is just focus on hitting the dashes when it's dodge time, get into a rhythm. It sings to me. It feels so good. Aspect of Eos. Oh my gosh, what an aspect. It's so darn good. Burns through your magic pretty fast. If it does have a downside, it's that it burns through your magic pretty fast, so you have to get a good mana recovery boon. You already had to get a good mana recovery boon, unless you're just not using any Omegas on your stuff, which is definitely a playstyle that happens sometimes. Like on my second favorite aspect, the Aspect of Thanatos Axe. What if you wanted the axe to have a usable attack speed? You might like the Aspect of Thanatos. Upgrading it just makes it attack faster. When it's fully upgraded, it attacks fast enough that the axe feels good. S tier. Fantastic. Oh, it also builds up a critical rate for your Omega attack that goes up to 20% if you can avoid getting hit. I don't care. Sometimes I hit that if I notice it's at 20%. You could drop that off entirely. This would still be S tier. It just makes the axe attack fast enough that it's good. Now, when you get boosts to your attack speed from Plasma or Hermes or the Daedalus hammers, it's not making something bad usable, it's making something good great. And good to great is much better than bad to, yeah, I could technically use it. If you get 100 plasma, the Aspect of Mel attacks pretty fast. It's like, oh, really? Just have to get 100 plasma? Shit. Let me call my local GameStop. I've got a tip for them. This is my second favorite aspect in the game. The hitbox is wide, the damage is great. The attack speed makes the damage, I feel like, better than the attack on the Mel Axe, which just boosts the damage of the attack because you're just attacking 20 to 30% faster. I think it's 30%. I'm not even looking it up. I don't have to look it up. You can look it up. Corey can look it up. Look, it's right there. Corey looked it up. Thanks, Corey. We've done too many S tiers in a row now. 2 S tiers in a row? Come on, you can't do that. So let's bring it back to B tier. Aspect of Persephone on the skulls. This thing's a whole lot of pretty fine. It's fine. When you're rocking it, you have a chance to get better palms on your boons right away, which makes it pretty good with Hephaestus, who upgrades better than other gods. I got Hephaestus on my brain, just recorded that tier list, but I think about Hephaestus a lot in general. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. Good guy. It also charges up your Omega Special so that it lasts longer and lets you steer it, which is the part of it that I really like. I have kind of bad luck when it comes to those palm boosts, which is why the thing I don't like about it is the aspect upgrade increases the palms and doesn't help out the Omega Special, which is the fun part of this. I love fully charging up that Omega Special and dashing around invincibly for like 5 seconds. It's so fun. That's such a fun way to play the game, and I wish that the aspect upgraded that rather than upgrading the palms. That's it. That's my big critique with it, and that's keeping it in B tier because it's also still the skulls and there's still chores, and I don't like doing chores, and you still do have to do chores with this. It's a little easier to do the chores with it since you got that longer dash and you can actually steer the dash. If you play a lot of Aspect of Persephone, which I did for a while because it was my favorite before I really figured out how Medea worked, going back to other skulls sucks, and not being able to steer that Omega Special. But now I know Medea is better. It is better. I'm not going to pretend it's not. I might personally like this better, but objectively, I'm going to say that it's a little worse and put it in B tier. Definitely not bad, and something I think you should try. I think you should try it. Your hair changed, your shirt changed, mine stayed the same, and I didn't forget the aspect of Nyx. Why would you even think that? There's another aspect on the jetpack. Like a lot of jetpack aspects, I think it's pretty good. We're putting it in A tier. Basically it gives you an Omega Sprint, which is kinda cool, and then that splits your attack and your specials up. More hits that deal less damage, which means it's good for things like waves and scorch that don't necessarily depend on the percentages of your damage and gets you more individual hits. This one is in A tier because it is also kind of a big mana sink. You really need good mana recovery to get the most out of this one. Otherwise, you're going to burn through it pretty darn quick, firing off those Omega Specials after the Omega Dashes or firing off the Omega Punches after the Omega Dashes. All of it costs mana, and that can burn through your blue bar pretty fast. If you got Hestia's recovery, if you got Hera's recovery, you're fine. It'll go great. You'll really, really like it. If you got Grizzly Gain, you're going to suffer, especially with this one. Also in general, but especially with this aspect. Overall though, gotta say A tier. It carves through stuff, it blows everything up, does a ton of damage, covers a ton of area as well. Really like this one. Try it out. Aspect of Anubis. More like a noob is the one making this video. Oh, I put it in B tier. It's weird. You do an attack and it makes a circle that does a bunch of damage. You do a special and it yoinks enemies in like your Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. Not necessarily something I want all the time, especially if I'm using the ranged attack on my weapon. I might not want to pull someone in close to me. I used the ranged attack. Maybe I want them to be far away. But then when things die, they create shades that you can dash through. I think this is like the biggest quirk up of a hidden aspect. It's so different than the normal staff to the point where like sometimes I'll get Daedalus hammers with it and straight up not know how it affects the staff, since the Daedalus hammers for the regular staff are in there, and I'm like, what does that mean for the staff of Anubis?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
What does it mean to make my attack faster when my attack is making a big circle in front of me that does area of effect damage? What does this do? So why is it in B tier? Well, because it works. I don't know why it works, but it works. This is a weapon aspect for people who work in IT, who've got like the paperclip inside the server, and no one knows what the paperclip does, but if anyone pulled that paperclip out, every company server would shut down across the company and everyone would lose billions of dollars. This is the aspect for you because it's that paperclip. It works. Whenever I use it, I do pretty well. You know, I do better than probably most of the other staff aspects. So B tier. I don't know how, but it works. maybe this actually sucks and I'm just so in tune with the gameplay style of the Staff of Anubis that I just naturally took to it like Mozart to a piano. But yeah, B tier. I think it's solid. I just don't know why. Aspect of Morrigan. We're changing things up left and right. These are those hidden aspects they're not supposed to tell you about in the mainstream media. This is B tier. It's another weird one. It changes your attack a lot. It makes your specials a lot slower, which I dislike. I like the attack effect. And then I also like the big chompy scissors that come down when you hit all three moves. You hit an Omega move, you hit a special, and you hit a regular attack. And then you do some Omega scissors that do 777 damage. And then you can upgrade that with a Daedalus Hammer to be 999 damage. You can upgrade that with a Hephaestus legendary boon, and it does like 12,000 damage. Like the game can't register it. If you get that and then you look at your weapon, it'll say it does 999 damage, but then when you hit an enemy, it does like 1,200 damage. It's wild. It's happened to me 3 times I've used these, which I've used these like 6 times. So weird. It's definitely a weird play style, and the slower specials hold it back. But once you get the hang of it, you can do some serious damage numbers with those big old scissors. You can really carve people up. So I'll put it in B tier. It takes some getting used to. I think most of the hidden aspects just sort of take some getting used to, other than one we'll talk about. But once you figure out how to use them, they pay off pretty well. Except for the aspect of sucky, F tier. Yeah, I put 2 of the torches in S tier, and I put this in F tier. This thing sucks. I hate it so much. It's useless. You look at it and you see I am constantly firing my Omega attack and constantly firing my Omega special. How could this be bad? It even boosts my dash boon. This has got to be the best thing ever. Except the version of your Omega special and your Omega attack that are firing off are like comparing, you know, a super soaker to a machine gun. Like they both are shaped like guns. You know what? Not even a super soaker, just like a regular water pistol. This does nothing. You can supercharge them and shift them into maximum overdrive, and then your Omega specials spin faster and do decent damage, and your Omega attack does decent damage. The problem is you can't attack or special anymore. So if you run out of magic, you're done. You just gotta hit people with the flipping pinwheel and just hope they get knocked over by your stiff breeze. The boost to your dash is fine. There's like a dash in the game that I would say is worth using this on, which is Hera's. The rest are dashes. So, you know, Poseidon's does some decent damage if you constantly recharge your sprint. Zeus's does some fine damage, I guess. But yeah, this thing sucks. I hate this thing. F tier. Terrible. What do they do to my torches? My beautiful, beautiful torches. I'm so sad. I wish there was something that could make me happy. I wish Great Stars from Elden Ring was in this game. Oh, wait. Aspect of Nermal. That's not how it's pronounced. That's the Garfield character. I don't care. Aspect of Nermal is Great Stars from Elden Ring. My favorite weapon from Elden Ring, and they put it in goddamn Hades too, and I think it might be better here. S tier. I love it. This is an Unga Bunga machine. Instead of your last attack in your combo being the slow, crappy one, your first attack is. Why is it an S tier? Because after that, you just smash the ground like a frickin' cave woman, losing your mind. Then you go berserk and you start healing 1 HP per hit and you start attacking even faster. Oh my, you didn't have to do that. Interestingly, Great Stars in Elden Ring, which is also a giant spiked club, heals you 1 HP per tick. The difference is in Hades, your HP is around like 400 by the end game, if I'm being generous. And in Elden Ring, it's like 800. So twice as valuable, pretty goddarn good. Still though, that healing is just the gravy. If the healing wasn't on there, I'd probably put this at high A tier. It's just enough gravy to bump it up to S tier because it does really help you out in a lot of occasions. It can stop you from dying. And it counts per hit of enemy, not per attack you do. So if you're in an area with a bunch of enemies and you Unga Bunga the ground, you heal for each one you hit. And that's pretty spectacular. I like it a lot. S tier. What a fun weapon. Aspect of Hell. What if your skulls were just a gun and you didn't have chores? We finally don't have chores. B tier. It's fine. The damage is a lot lower than it is on the normal skulls, and it becomes more of a rat-a-tat-a fast weapon than a big dumpy hit weapon. And that's fine. That's just a different playstyle. It's just, it does feel like it does quite a bit less damage. It's just a lot more fun to use because I don't have to do chores. I hate doing chores. Chores make me go places I don't want to go, and I get hit, and I don't do damage while I have to run around doing my chores. This doesn't have chores, so B tier, even though the damage is worse. Damage isn't everything. Sometimes it is a little bit about convenience. The convenience keeps this from C tier and puts it in B tier. Doesn't put it in A tier with Medea, which is better, and it puts it in B tier with Persephone, which is also, kind of fine aspect. It's got some good, it's got some bad. Take them both, and there you have the facts of life. One last aspect. This is the newest aspect that I've tried. It's also the last aspect, if you're going in order on the circle. It's the aspect of Shiva on that jetpack, on that ding-dang jetpack. A tier. And I say A tier. And when I say A tier, I want you to understand the damage output of this is so insane. I thought I had to put it in S tier. I thought this is for sure got to be S tier. Do you know what actually S tier? S tier. Because one thing held it back. And I said I wasn't going to do it again. Grizzly Gain sucks so much shit and made me think this was bad. Because this does eat up your magic. It does eat up your magic, which is the thing that I would maybe put it in A tier for, is to get the most value out of this, you are spending your mana. But spending mana can be good. If you want to use a hex, spending mana is pretty good. I had Grizzly Gain. In Heroic, +2. It got hit by Bridal Glow, so it went up to +2. In Heroic, you don't recover it. Goddamn mana with Grizzly Gain. God damn it, Ares. Do your job. It's a mana recovery boon. You made me think this was bad, but I tried it again, and I had a decent mana recovery from Apollo. Apollo's mana recovery is quite good. I'm sorry that I said it was decent. That's not what I meant. I meant it's quite good. When we get to the Apollo tier list, I'll say that it's quite good. I actually don't think it is the best mana recovery in the game. Some people seem to think it is, but no, it's not. It's quite good. Anyway, did it with that. S tier. Holy shit, this does damage. Basically, you shoot off bouncing balls for your Omega special instead of the rockets. The bouncing balls already do great damage. If you're standing in the bouncing balls, when they explode, they go into your attack, your Omega attack, and your Omega attack fucking deletes things now. You can put up to 6 charges in it. If you get 2 charges in it, deletion. So much damage. Get 6 in, bosses skip phases. What is this thing? Oh my god, it hits hard. There's chores. I have to hit the bouncing ball and then stand in the bouncing ball if I want to do the and I'm bang myself. I know that. I know I'm bang myself because I didn't like the very meta aspect of Charon, which has chores. And I said I didn't like it because it has chores, but it does so much damage. This makes aspect of Charon look like a goddamn water pistol. You're doing like thousands of damage with this. It's bananas. It's so good. It's so good. It does so much damage. And yes, there's some chores. And yes, you need a solid mana recovery. So actually back in A tier. I wish I could put it in S tier, but there are a few too many caveats. I'm saying them now. I'm hearing them now. I was right in my first assessment of putting it in A tier, but it's high A tier. It's knocking on S tier's door. And I think if you get the skill and you figure out how to do these chores and you get a good mana recovery boon, this thing soars. This is the best jetpack aspect by far, in my opinion. So what do you think of that tier list? What do you think of the weapon aspects? What's your favorite? Am I wrong? Did I not just choose the meta? Should I just watch someone else's tier list and agree with them for 20 minutes? Is that a better video? Let me know. Join the Patreon if you want to support the channel. It's the best place to do it. Follow us on Twitch and Tulok Time. That's where we're streaming. There might still be a stream marathon going on. I'm doing a little stream marathon right now because I needed help getting a new car, and everyone was crazy generous, so it might very well still be going. Check out Tulok Time. Bye-bye.